Warning, this podcast contains time travel.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Seen on TV podcast for The Flash Season 2, Episode 1, The Man Who Saved Central City. I am your host, Clio, and with me I have Dom.
How's it going?
And it's more like this episode contains the consequences of time travel.
Yes, but I want to preface, because we typically with The Flash, we end up getting into these huge time travel debate discussions, so I'm warning people in advance that your head is going to hurt more than it did before you started watching this podcast. And that's something really good to say to get people to watch the show. So. Well,
I'm not sure we're going to have much. Oh, no, it's a lie. As soon as I thought it. No, I was going to say, I'm not sure we're going to have so much of, to debate about how time travel's working. But now that I think about it, we probably are. Speaking of which, we get a little tease in the beginning of the episode.
We did. I was so
people
mad.
Who are dead, people who are dead were not dead, and such.
I was so mad. Like, everything was racing through my head, and I didn't know what the hell was going on. And it's like, there's Eddie, and there's Wells, and it's just like my head is spinning, and I'm like, wait, parallel universe. This is the other side before the hole ripped through. And all of a sudden, this stuff just started pouring through my head, and it's like Wells is being a good guy, and Eddie's still alive, and everything is awesome, and
nope, it's Barry guilt.
I want to go watch the Lego movie.
It's all Barry guilt, what that is.
Mm-hmm.
He's just imagining everybody together and happy. But then they promptly show us this is what happened 6 months ago. Which, why is it always, it's always brackets of 6 months, isn't it? Barry was in a coma for 6 months, and then it feels like it's just brackets of 6 months.
Well, is that the legit amount of time between the season? Like, has there been 6 months since the end of the season?
No, it's been more like 4.
Okay,
right?
Never mind then. Yeah.
Is it May? Yeah, no, it's been like 4. I was about to count them, but then I'm way too tired for that.
I hear you. Yeah, no, from May to October, that's 5, so.
Okay, so almost, just about 6 months. But I guess they're writing it for the story.
Yeah.
More than that. Which has me wondering, when is Arrow going to also come back 6 months? With the 6 month gap?
That's a good question. I mean, the timelines don't have to line up perfectly.
That's true, which is why I'm thinking maybe it won't.
Yeah, because I mean,
who knows? Maybe it will.
For all we know, the Arrow could be taking place immediately after. I'm still not caught up on Arrow. I'm really close. So
yes.
So don't spoil.
I think it's unlikely it's going to be immediately.
But it could be.
Not spoil anything for you.
Yeah, I'm just saying it could be immediately after, and then they do whatever, and then between the first and second episode, there could be a 2-month break, and then another break down the line to catch the timelines back up. But it doesn't. They don't both have to air at once in the same timeline.
Yeah.
They will eventually course correct themselves.
Because they're going to have to cross over. Not that they have to cross over, but they will.
They don't have to, but they're going to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't have to, but they will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we get the flashback to 6 months ago when the singularity struck.
Get it? Flashback?
Yeah, no,
we got the flashback. It's back, guys.
I should not be holding my head in my hand. I made a terrible joke just before we started, so. So we find out that Ronnie's dead. Just to cut to it. We find out that Ronnie's dead.
Is he?
Was that super unsatisfying to you too?
Is Ronnie dead? I don't think Ronnie's dead.
It feels like that actor got another job. This is the kind of death you get when an actor gets another job. Like, that's what it felt like in the writing. And I'm like, this is just really poor writing.
Yeah. I mean, so
I watched it, I was just like...
I do want to say, in conjunction with that, Was Ronnie not in the opening, in the dream sequence? I think he was in the dream
He
sequence too,
was.
right? Yeah. So we got Ronnie there. We got Wells, and we got I just said his name. Now I forgot.
Eddie.
Eddie. We got all of them in that little
Yeah.
flashback, and to me, that kind of cheapened it because I wanted to feel like they were gone.
Hmm.
But now, like, I feel like, oh, they were there. That means the actors are available, so they're
Yes.
going to be back at some point. And I just, even though I know from like media and stuff, that we're gonna find out, oh, so and so is coming back, because that always happens. But I just wanted the illusion of these guys have really been gone. I haven't seen them in 4 months, 6 months, whatever it's been, to feel that exact. So when they finally do come back, it means that much more. So I feel like that little opening cheapened it, for me anyway, because I didn't feel as much as he's gone. Like
Yeah.
Ronnie's still, because he was at the beginning of the episode, so he still felt there. But I feel like Ronnie's in the other side of the black hole.
That's a really good point because there wasn't a body, there wasn't anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought about this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I thought about this a lot. Um, because before Flash, in the final episode of last season, before he went up into the vortex, into the singularity, he said it needs to eat a paradox or something. He says something like that, like it needs to, you know, have feed on a
Yeah.
time paradox. And so Barry, obviously, who had changed time, was perfect to be fed to it.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm thinking maybe Ronnie was also a candidate to be fed to it because him being a meta
Any
needs,
metahuman. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's
So I
already
think,
like a subject of a time paradox because of what Wells did.
yeah, I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. Is Ronnie's on the other side of the black hole, be that Earth 2 or whatever, wherever that black hole actually goes to. But at the same time, I feel a little cheapened because this is basically Ronnie's story all over again from season 1.
Yeah, I got that too.
It's just, oh,
Yeah.
Ronnie's missing, Caitlin, and everybody thinks he's
Oh my
dead,
god.
but he's not. So
Yeah, and I thought about I thought about Ronnie a lot because it like disappointed me the way it was written and the way it played out. But we see in Legends of Tomorrow that it's Doctor what's his name? What's the other half of Firestorm?
the doctor,
Uh, Stein.
Dr. Stein, yes.
I was like, I'm looking at
Couldn't think of it
my
either.
notes.
So the
Stein.
doctor,
Um,
he's the doctor.
Dr. Stein's in Legends of Tomorrow without Ronnie.
Right.
And Ronnie being dead is a good reason why Ronnie's not around. It's
Yeah.
also another good reason for Caitlin to go dark. Or a good starting point for Caitlin to go dark. Because we know that
It would be.
Barry's.
It would be, but Caitlyn seems calm and collected now.
Yeah, but.
Like, it seems like that would be a good
It,
catalyst to start immediately. But
no, to me, this is. It's very painful for her, but she's felt this before. So she's not gonna shut down like she did last time. But if something else, if like one of the Flash team betrays her or she feels betrayed, that is a perfect catalyst, like a two-step to becoming Killer Frost.
yeah, I could see that.
So I think that's why. And I'm not sure, even if Ronnie is in another alternate universe or whatever, I don't think we're gonna get him for this first half of the season. I don't think he's gonna be around.
No, I mean
He's
he
just gone.
he might be, but I don't. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because I don't really know exactly what they're going. And if what I'm expecting is if we are going to Earth 2, if Barry ends up over there, we're probably gonna see a lot of the characters that we've already know, but in a different light. So we're probably either going to see Ronnie from our Earth 1 in Earth 2, or we're going to see Ronnie in Earth 2.
That'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
And I think there's gonna be
That could be the other
more
thing
than
too.
Earth 1 and Earth 2. I have a
Right.
very big feeling.
But that could be the other thing too, is they could kind of pull a little bit of a fringe on us
Yeah.
and pull Ronnie from Earth 2 into Earth 1 and have Caitlin go through like the
Yes.
whole fascination of, oh my god, Ronnie's alive, but Ronnie doesn't feel the same way about Caitlin because their paths didn't meet the same way in Earth 2, and
Yeah.
that's going to cause some internal conflicts for Caitlin, and that could push her over the edge too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be someone ends up betraying her.
Yeah.
Maybe not on purpose, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I also don't think that's going to happen for this first half of the season. I think stuff like that's going to happen after Legends of Tomorrow when we come back in the spring.
Yeah, I'm really, really nervous about Legends of Tomorrow because I don't know where that's going to leave us in the thing, because I know that though Flash and Arrow aren't really prominent, they're still in it
Yeah.
to some degree, and to make it a cohesive story that could continue on without them but still have everything line up in the midst of everything that's going on just seems like a huge undertaking to get these three shows in alignment, that two of which deal with time travel.
Would it be The Undertaking?
I see what you did there.
It's an Arrow joke, ladies and gentlemen. Ha-cha! I want to keep talking about Stein though, because I think he really sets himself apart, like as a contributing member of Team Flash.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I just want to cut you off for 1 second.
Oh.
Lee says, or we get Killer Frost of Earth 2 and Caitlin stays the same. That's completely an option too.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that definitely depends on, because we saw the like when Barry was going through the time stream, going back in time, we saw bits of stuff, and one of them was Caitlin as Killer Frost, and that just depends on whether what he was seeing was
Earth 1,
his
Earth
timeline
2,
or someone
Earth
else's
6,
timeline.
Earth 10.
Whatever. Yeah, so Stein named the dude the Atom Smasher, and Cisco was just like, I love you.
We got a high five. It's just like, it was great. It was great. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I was like,
So funny.
Stein, what did you just do? That was my reaction.
I thought he was gonna be upset because Cisco's job is naming things.
Right.
But then he was so happy, and I was like, yes.
I mean, but Cisco's job really hasn't been naming things in quite some time.
That's true. That's true.
Cause
his
Team
job
Flash,
has been spending taxpayer money on junk to make a boot.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but Team Flash was out of commission for all this time too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that boot was great.
Yeah, he just hands the chief like a pile of receipts, and he's just like, oh.
No, you're not getting a badge.
He knew. Tisco didn't even have to say it. But he gets a badge at the end. Joe gives him a badge. I don't think it's a real badge.
It might be. Maybe it's Joe's badge.
Maybe. That'd be sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that'd be nice. Because I know cops can give, like, mini honorary badges to, like, their family.
Right.
So maybe he pulled something like that for Cisco.
Could be.
Yeah, Cisco this episode was just...
His hair's even longer than
so
it was last
happy.
season. He's been growing it out.
Listen, they're just some fictional characters that speak to me. And Cisco is one of them.
Mr. Ramon is one of my favorite characters on this show.
He is my favorite character on the show. Oh my god. Yeah. What do you think of this metahuman in the new metahuman in this episode, the Atom Smasher?
The Atom Smasher.
Who is played by the Edge? Is that his name? The dude who plays Dwight in Haven.
Yeah, I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah. I think he was a wrestler too. I don't remember.
Yeah. I liked him, but there was just some things about it that felt a little off to me. Like, they didn't really explain how he could run so fast. You know, it was just accepted that he could.
Well, I think
And
he was burning the to do all the things he was doing, he was burning the nuclear energy he
mhm.
absorbed.
Yeah, and then the whole flooding it with nuclear energy just didn't really sit right with me. For like, because I understand the concept, I know what they were doing,
Yeah.
and it seemed like a good idea. Except I expected more of like an explosion out of it than him to just like shrink back down. Because think of it this way: this is the logic I had. If you're
Hmm.
trying to flood it with something to get it to not, to oversaturate it, take a glass of water, right,
Hmm.
and fill it with Kool-Aid mix, right, and
Oh
just
God.
keep pouring the powder in
Yeah.
until at some point the Kool-Aid, the water, can't absorb any more sugar, and the sugar just sits in the glass.
Yeah.
So if he just keeps absorbing all this nuclear energy, it's just gonna sit there, and it's gonna get to the point he's not just gonna all of a sudden expel all the nuclear energy and it's gonna be gone. It's just gonna be over flooded into him.
Well, I think that might be one way to think of it, but the way I was thinking of it is like you have a glass of water and you're throwing ice into it.
Okay.
And eventually, if you keep throwing ice, the water will just spill out.
Yeah.
That's sort of
Until
how
it
I,
melts, and then
yeah.
you have all your water back.
And you've all, exactly. But these are really weird metaphors we're using right now.
Yeah.
Analogies? Is that?
Yeah. I love that we both use water though. That was
Well, I only
bravo.
did because you
Bravo to us.
You used it with Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But actually, talking about explosions, I wanted to go back to Firestorm for just a hot second. God damn it, when Ronnie went up into the singularity and ripped the what is that thing? Is it a container, a capacitor, a?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Huh?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, he rips it off. It reminded me of scene in the comics with Firestorm, and I think it was either Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think it was Crisis on Infinite Earths, or Infinite Crisis. They're two completely different comic lines. I know it's very confusing.
Right.
I confuse myself all the time. But where Firestorm does a similar thing and up explodes, dies. Yeah, no, it's I had flashback to that, and I was like, oh, ow, that hurts the feels. Yeah. Anyway, back to Atom Smasher. When he rolled up, both me and my mom were like, is that Bane?
I mean,
is he in the mask?
Yeah, there was that, and don't forget, Barry used the bat symbol.
Oh my god! And Cisco's explanation was like, I don't know, I think I saw it in a comic once. It's just like, oh god!
That
what?
really cracked me up. What would have cracked me up even more is if this was a Marvel show. That would have just made me laugh even harder. You know, if Marvel did that. But,
oh yeah.
You know, but DC could get away with doing it because it's their own thing.
I was like, oh really, Cisco? Could it have been a Batman comic book?
I loved it. Loved it.
It was so funny. Because I was just like, I was looking, I was like, is that a lightning bolt in the sky? So
yeah.
I don't know. It's just really funny.
Danette Stone King wants to know if Atom Smasher was in the Justice League Unlimited series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, he was. I remember him.
Cool.
I don't think he had a big part, but I think he was in a couple of times.
Right.
It may be a capacitor if I go 88 miles an hour and end up back in 1985. Yes. then it would be a capacitor. Yes. Thank you, Lee. But we learn at the end, after, Atom Smasher's all, like, radiationed out, that Dr. Zoom told him something. What did he say? He was like,
he just said
promised
Zoom.
me.
All he said was Zoom.
He said Zoom, but we know who the fuck he's talking about. Right. Let's be real.
Right. I mean, you know who he's talking about. I don't. I've heard of Zoom, and I think when we first started doing this podcast, you referred
Yeah.
to him as Professor Zoom.
Oh yeah, it is. I think it is Professor Zoom.
Yeah, and we were under the impression that
Yeah, I thought they were
Dr.
splitting
Wells
the character.
was
Yeah.
Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is that gonna be the case?
Yes, because Reverse Flash and Doctor Zoom are actually the same person
Okay,
in the comics.
but that was the whole thing. Now is that Atom Smasher was like, yo, he promised me I could go home. He would send me
Yeah.
home. So Atom Smasher seems to be from Earth 2.
Yes. Yes, I think very much so. Since we found Al Rothstein's dead body, and he appeared not to be a meta at all.
Right. So is that under the impression that Professor Zoom is the Reverse Flash, but from Earth 2?
You know what? I hadn't considered that. Because what exactly happened to our Wells / Reverse Flash?
So what happened was Eddie killed himself.
Yes, and he disappeared.
And he
Okay.
disappeared because he's a relative of Eddie, and since Eddie was never alive to create offspring, that Wells would never have been born.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, probably Professor Zoom is probably the Earth's 2 version of Reverse Flash.
Right.
Oh, I like that a lot because we can get a completely different actor and have it be the same person.
Or it could still be the same actor.
It could. You're right. It could.
Because I really liked the.
I like him too.
Yeah.
But I like when they switch it up.
Yeah, but don't forget also, he was. Who was the other guy? Eobard Thawne, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
That was a different actor.
And he was also a very good actor.
He was, so we really don't know which of the two we'll get. And I almost want to go with Eobard as opposed to Wells.
I would like to see more of him. That would be pretty cool.
I still want more Wells, though. Wells is alive in this timeline, too.
Wibbly wobbly.
Well, yeah. Well, we don't know for sure. Yeah, we don't know for sure, but the real Wells should be alive.
Legit Wells.
Yes, the legit Wells.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that they could do here. I'm more excited than I was when I watched this episode now.
Yeah. So well, so obviously we're gonna save the best for last. So I want to talk about Henry right now. And Wells gives a confession. And he murdered Nora Allen. And that Henry is free. Yay! I was looking forward to him becoming a part of Team Flash.
And Barry almost didn't watch the video.
Almost didn't fucking watch it. Thank God for Caitlin.
Oh yeah.
Voice of fucking reason.
Yeah, but we also have to give props to Iris.
Yeah.
Because if Iris didn't talk Barry into going to Flash Day, that he wouldn't have spotted Caitlin and wouldn't have gone to see her. So,
Yep.
See, it's like Lemony Snicket's, but this is a series of fortunate events.
This time, I don't know. This show goes back and forth between series of unfortunate and fortunate events.
That is very true.
I'm wondering, and we talked about this in Vixen, I'm wondering when external metahumans are going to really play a part in the Flash. And, like, obviously we're going to get...
I think now, like, for all we know, that Adam could have been an external metahuman. Like, he's from Earth 2. That doesn't necessarily mean he was part of any particle accelerator explosion.
Yes. The metas could have come from something else in Earth 2. Good point. I didn't think of that.
And I want to know how Atom Smasher got here. Was it when the portal was open? Because we didn't really see anything come out of it.
Well, I'm
That's not
guessing
to say things didn't, but
I'm guessing Professor Zoom has a way of coming back and forth.
I mean, if he promised Atom Smasher he can go home, I would assume that he's got some way to do that, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's also how Jay Garrick got here.
Whew. Yes. Okay. So
And I'm gonna be honest, I got so sucked into this episode that by the end I forgot that Garrick was gonna be in this season, and I kind of lost my mind like a tiny child.
yeah. So hold on. Before we get into Jay, we were talking
Yes.
about Barry's father.
Yes.
Henry.
Sorry, Henry. So Henry's just gonna leave, kind of.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't really want to be a hindrance to Barry, and I get that. I get that because he feels
Yeah.
like if Barry's focused on rebuilding his relationship with him, that the city that's grown to love the Flash and need the Flash is not going to get the Flash. And I actually kind of respect Henry for that.
I do too.
So
Less sad. Barry's just like a ball of emotions always, and I like the flashback to Barry and Joe. He's like, yes, okay, keep being a tough guy. It's not gonna make you feel any better.
yeah,
So cute though.
yeah, no, the flashback was great.
Because Joe's always got that kind of advice where it's like, yeah, sure, you can keep doing the dumbass shit you doing, but it's not gonna be good.
Yep.
Yeah, I love Joe for that, and I like that him and Iris are really bonding again and are not lying to each other constantly.
Yeah, I mean, a lot.
Good relationship.
That's kind of because there's no secrets with the Flash and all that, and I mean, he kind of had to lie to her before,
No, he didn't.
No, because Barry put him in a situation. It was kind of, yes, don't look at me like that. Barry had this secret to keep.
Yes, but Joe was the one who told Barry, "Don't you dare tell Iris." Joe was the one keeping the secret, not Barry. Barry would have told her. I think Barry would have told her. Joe was the one who grabbed Barry and was like, "Don't you tell her." Because Joe did the same thing to Eddie, and Joe was Eddie, don't you dare tell her.
I think if Barry had the time to think about it, he wouldn't have told her, though, because...
Probably, but...
Because we sat there, and we see what Barry did now. Like, at the beginning, he pushed everyone away. He doesn't want to endanger everyone, so... Yes. I feel like Barry would have came to that conclusion on his own without Joe's influence.
But season 1 Barry kind of did before he thought a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
I think he would have told her. Or would have come a lot closer.
I mean, technically, he did tell her. And then he traveled back in time.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, so.
Jay
Garrick.
The original Flash.
Is he the original Flash?
The comic books.
Comic books, he is.
Golden Age.
Comic books, he's the... I don't want to say original, but he's the first Flash that you're introduced to. That doesn't necessarily mean he's the original Flash. Because...
It's not, but...
Because he's the Flash of Earth 2.
I'm speaking Golden, Silver Age comics.
Right, but I'm just saying that he's the Flash of Earth 2. Where Barry's the Flash of Earth 1, so they're technically both the original Flash.
I meant it... Never mind. Anyway, yes. Okay, fine, Dom. You're right.
I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass, but I am a pain in the ass, but I'm not trying to be. But no, like, logically, they're both the original Flash. It's just, this whole multiple universe thing is really going to start fucking with people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he just strolls up. Like Lee says, my name is Jay Garrick, and your world is in danger.
Mm-hmm.
And so is mine. Where is he going to pull that helmet out of? Like, he walked up without the helmet, right?
Didn't the helmet come through the portal?
Oh, Yes, that's right. It came through the portal during the singularity.
No, well, before the singularity.
Before the singularity, yes.
Yeah.
That was really fun. That was really funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so his
Yeah.
helmet's already there.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yeah, so maybe they're like, hey, is this yours? Have you guys seen a helmet around? I kind of lost mine.
It's probably just like
Got
on
little
a.
lightning bolts.
It's either still in the reactor,
Yeah.
because I doubt Barry would have gone back in there. Like, yeah, he's been upkeeping Star Labs and
Yeah.
maintaining, but I don't really see a super reason to go back in there.
Yeah.
But so they're either gonna find it there or he's just got it like laying around Star Labs somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe put it in the closet or something.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever they put all Cisco's like crazy useless inventions. Because I have this really bland headcanon that Cisco just makes useless things sometimes when he's bored, and they all go in a closet. One of my favorite things on Pinterest is bland Marvel headcanons, where it's just like things, everyday things that the Avengers do.
Coulson goes to the bathroom at 3:00 p.m. every day.
Yeah,
On the dot.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I like making up my own bland headcanons of things.
Yeah. No, I could totally see Cisco just tinkering around with something new every day.
Here's this hairbrush that grows legs and does a dance.
That
That's
sounds
all it
terrible,
does.
Cisco. Why would you
That's
ever
all
make
Why
that?
would you make that? I don't know. It's
Here's a
powered by
fly
nuclear-
swatter. It helps you urinate. It's like, what?
Yeah, just shit like this. Like, what?
What?
I don't know. I was up really late. Like, I could see him explain it all proud. Everyone's like, what? And then he's just like, I was really tired. Oh, gosh. Anyway. Yeah, I'm super excited for all, like, the alternate timeline shit that's gonna happen this season.
It's gonna be a headache because we're gonna see potentially alternate universe characters just like Fringe. Like, if you guys are familiar with Fringe, it's gonna be very much like that. Maybe not nearly as drastic in some cases. Some characters may not have changed at all. Some characters may be complete opposites. Other characters may not know each other.
Yeah.
Some characters' enemies might be best friends. You know, we don't even know for sure that we're going to Earth 2. It's
That's
just
true.
an assumption. But stuff is coming out of Earth 2. We know that much.
Yeah, at least 3 things.
Mm-hmm.
And next week's episode is called Flash of Two Worlds.
You mean it's not called A Flash of Two Cities? Where have I heard that before?
A Tale of Two Flashes actually was my joke.
Oh, is that what it was?
A Tale of Two Flashes.
Okay. That's what it was.
It's not very clever. I just read Flash of Two Worlds, and I was like, A Tale of Two Flashes?
It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Please tell me that's the first sentence of the synopsis.
No, I fucking wish. Jay Garrick, a mysterious man from Earth 2, appears at S.T.A.R Labs with a dire warning about an evil speedster named Zoom, who is set on destroying the Flash. Barry and the team must decide if they can trust this stranger, even as they face yet another powerful metahuman. Why don't you tell me who? What who? Meanwhile, Joe must deal with a determined officer named Patty Spivot, who wants to join. Why does that name sound familiar?
I don't know, but I'm gonna call her Patty Mayonnaise.
Who wants to join his metahuman task force. The task force that is Joe and Cisco, by the way. I'm pretty sure that is the entirety of the task force. Just like Barry is the entirety of the CSI team.
Right. Yeah.
Well, no, Barry's in an office by himself. There is never another CSI.
There's not.
Ever. He's the only one for a whole city with a lot of crime.
Maybe that whole city doesn't have a big budget for the CSI department.
Because it's all
Or
going to Cisco.
or maybe it's just because Barry's so goddamn good at his job that they don't need anyone else. I mean, the whole city. Barry could get around pretty quickly.
That's true. But what confused me about last season was they kind of, when he was at work, showed him kind of a little bumbling, which made me question why they left him in charge of everything. But that was last season. I don't question that stuff anymore. Was that? Oh no, that's just who directed the episode. Never mind. I thought
Lisa's Patty's New 52 character.
Oh, okay, I have heard.
And potentially Barry's new girlfriend. So
now Iris can be the jealous, brooding one.
Yes.
Not that I want to see that. Obviously, I don't want to see that because that's what I kept rolling my eyes at last season.
Right, but I don't know. I feel like the two of them know where each other stands, and if they wanted to make something happen, that they could and should have. So
yeah. Well, I think it's also because we talked about in the beginning, Barry's. I was gonna call him Gary.
Gary, yes.
Barry's just got a lot of guilt right now.
Gary Jallin.
Barry's got a lot of guilt right now, and he's thinking about Eddie all the time.
Yeah,
which
and
I'm sure is
not just Eddie too.
Anything. Ronnie.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of Iris, he's thinking about Eddie all the time.
Yeah.
So it's probably stopping him.
He kept saying he's not the hero, and he, in other words, right. that's Ronnie. Like that was the big thing. I'm not the hero. We all know who the hero was that day, and that's the part that irritated me so much at the beginning of the show is because everything's just going around business as usual. We know things have changed and whatever. So I'm thinking headcanon. I'm like, are we in Earth 2 or are we in Earth 1?
Yeah.
And like, that was starting to irritate me, and I'm like, are we actually going to find out what the hell he's talking about, or are we going to have to wait till next episode? And then finally, about 15, 20 minutes in, we got the flashback to what happened during the singularity. And then I was like, okay, I can actually, like, sit down and enjoy the show now.
I actually have a theory about some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's Earth 1 and Earth 2. But then there are alternate versions of Earth 1 and Earth 2.
Earth 1.5?
Yeah. Point whatever, who cares? We're not going to name them all. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something I forgot. I can't believe I glossed over. Cisco had another vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Another vibe session? That's not... No.
He just had another
vibe moment?
No, just another vibe.
He got another vibe.
Just keep it simple.
And I was like, why didn't you tell Joe? It's meta stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
Although that could pose a problem because he is on a anti-metahuman task force. I don't know. This isn't Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so it's probably not a big deal.
And then the other thing that I wanted to mention about Jay is, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jay did not get his powers through, like, supernatural type of way. Like, he got it through, like, breathing water vapor or something, if I remember correctly. It was something weird like that. He got it almost naturally, as opposed to Barry. And because of that, Jay is not affected or governed by the Speed Force.
We're entering into territory that...
Yeah, well, this is what I was trying to keep up with during the break and stuff like that, and when there's events like events that happen that will shut down the Speed Force, and Barry would lose his powers, that Jay, because he does not operate on the Speed Force, gets to keep his powers.
He still uses the Speed Force.
It's
not like he's completely separated from it.
He can use it, but he's not dependent on it.
Okay.
Where Barry is
similarly
dependent.
to how the original Green Lantern is not part of the Green Lantern Corps. His ring is separate.
Lisa's Jay inhaled hard water, aka ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah, that'd be interesting if they explored that.
Mm-hmm.
But he still uses the Speed Force.
Right.
Can tap
Right.
into it.
Oh yes, definitely.
And does.
He's just not governed by it.
Yeah. And I wonder if they'll bring in, because I know I talked about this last season, is that the speedsters can't like speed read at their really fastness and retain the information, but in this Barry can do that. I wonder if Jay can't. That would be really interesting.
Yeah, that's curious.
Especially if his powers actually do work differently than Barry's.
Right.
I don't know. We're gonna find out. I'm so excited.
I'm so glad the show's back.
Yeah, and I listen. I want Cisco to use his powers always, all the time.
just keep getting more vibes, Cisco.
Just keep getting more vibes, Cisco. Just vibe it out. I want him to wear those goggles again. They look so cool. You have no idea. If I go to Comic-Con this weekend and there are vibe goggles, I'm buying them. I don't care how much they are. Dom, where can people find you?
Have fun at Comic-Con.
I will.
You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM.
And you can find me at Cleomoto on socials and on Twitch at the Cleomoto. And you can find all of us at ASOTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, and right here on YouTube. Follow us for some more podcasts from some of your favorite TV shows. I'm gonna start like pausing in between Google+ and YouTube so that you can put
the same way I pause after my Twitter handle.
We're just gonna keep doing it back and forth until next week when we see more Jay. Bye.
Oh, the cough, it's really bad.
What?
The cough, it's really bad.
The cough is really...
Yeah, it was. This is definitely the worst I've had.